So as you all can see, this is why I'm so excited to be moderating this panel. I'm Dana Settle, co-founder and managing partner of Greycroft. And, well, you already know, but first I'm honored to introduce someone who truly embodies international leadership and success across entertainment, technology, philanthropy, investing, many, many things, has collaborated with an incredible list of multinational companies, Apple, Beats, Coca-Cola, IBM, Intel, JP Morgan, I mean, you know, a few household names, Microsoft, Salesforce, just to name a few. And beyond his creative and business achievements, he's deeply committed to making a positive impact through his work with the World Economic Forum, his will.i.am Angel Foundation, and his mission to equip underserved students with critical STEAM education, particularly important in today's AI-driven economy. Join me in welcoming will.i.am.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to be here.
Okay. And also...
I should have gone first, I think, because it's hard to come after that. I mean, come on.
Also joining me here on stage, a really incredible leader in the media industry and AI, Prem Akkaraju, who is the CEO of Stability.AI, which is best known for its groundbreaking generative AI model, Stable Diffusion. Stability.AI was named one of Time 100's most influential companies, and its models have been downloaded over 270 million times, powering more than 80% of AI-generated images online last year. Also, before Stability, something that not everybody knows is Prem was the CEO of really one of the most important companies in visual effects, Weta Digital, which is the Oscar-winning powerhouse behind Avatar, Avengers Endgame, The Lord of the Rings, and collectively these movies generated over $22 billion in global box office revenue. And also really important to this conversation, while at Weta, Prem founded Weta Cloud, which is basically a groundbreaking SaaS solution for the film production pipeline, which was then acquired by Unity Software for $1.65 billion. And these two, I think, are going to be really incredible in shedding some light on the intersection of creativity, technology, and really the future of AI. So with that, I'll jump right in, starting with you, Will. In 2009, I mean, this is kind of amazing, actually. I kept looking at that date. You essentially predicted generative audio in the song I'm a Bee. Mm-hmm. And it really, I went back and watched that video in preparation for this, and it's amazing. So you basically did describe the AI-powered tool that could generate vocals from lyrics. And obviously way ahead of its time. How did you see that coming?
So I got into tech, specifically AI, via a professor by the name of Professor Patrick Winston, who is the head of AI at MIT. And every time Black Eyed Peas would tour Boston, I would go sit in his class. And we became good friends from 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. By 9, I would have attended a lot of his classes. And I was fascinated with the progression of compute. As a musician and in the world of music, my instrument is the computer. I play Pro Tools. That is my tool. I don't play the keyboard. I don't play the guitar. I don't play the drums. I play Pro Tools. And I use Pro Tools in ways that it wasn't intended on being used for. Like most people record on Pro Tools, just vocals. But I like make the whole entire track and compose on Pro Tools. They record on Pro Tools. I compose on Pro Tools. And so I was fascinated with the fact that compute would go from me composing, using this language, all my shortcuts. Like, this means something on the other end to a computer. All this swiping and short keys, open Apple V and Z and D and F and command 2, click, right arrow, all that stuff means something. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm going to go from that to speaking to the computer. Oh, so I imagine like an instance of, okay, I type in my lyrics. That means the machine would have the entire English vocabulary, and it would take my timbers. That means a machine will have. So at the time, there was no fusion model. There was no large language model. So you're just dreaming what you want the machine to do and how it can be composed or configured to be able to compose. So that came from Professor Patrick. The insights that led my imagination to make that intro to our video, I'ma Be.
So it's amazing and a perfect kind of lead into this conversation just generally about the importance of, I think people in the creative industry infusing thoughts and ideas into AI. And so, Prem, I'm curious, this sort of world that Will hypothesized years ago and is now happening today is where are we today, and is stability that product? Or
It's amazing how artists really help predict the future. And this is like such a great case example. And as you know, also a little bit of a darker note, but James Cameron is an investor and board member with me at Stability, and he had that movie called Terminator, which was predicting an AI to take. I only say because it's a little bit.
It's not going to
funny.
happen. It's okay.
No, that's not going to.
I think it's more like Star Wars than Terminator.
Yeah.
Because in Star Wars
Right.
you had like a bunch of different AIs, bunch of different robots.
Right.
So that means a whole bunch of different companies and investors that benefited. And Terminator is just one company, one protocol, one software. One company that benefits from that, and then we reap the end result of that. I think it's more Star Wars, and in Star Wars there's Jedis. So
I totally agree with that. In Star Wars, exactly. No, I totally agree with that. And specifically, that the open source community is keeping the closed source community in check. I think
Yes.
that's a really important part.
Yep.
And so, and obviously I was sort of making a joke because Jim Cameron also says, well, I told you so. But I gave you guys a good warning. But I think it's also just an importance that art and science are together. It's always been together. And I think every company that I've been associated with that with success has been an equal weight from the art and science. And we challenge, if we can have the artists challenge the technology and the technology deliver their vision, is kind of exactly where Stability is. So we are truly, certainly the largest AI company here based in Los Angeles that's focusing exclusively on professional content creation in film, TV, and music. We fine-tune our model. As you mentioned, we have 270 million downloads of Stable Diffusion. Just by comparison to the next number 2 image model is 9 million downloads. So we are by far the market leader, or if you will, the ChatGPT moment for image generation. We're now taking that and conforming it into creative's workflow rather than a text to output, which is what we see in a lot of other models. We actually take a radically different view. So this is why I do think Stability is the solution for what Will predicted. Well, let's go with what Will predicted, not what Cameron predicted. We'll go with Will predicted. And
It's easier. Yep.
It's just easier. It's we all live happier lives. It's because we're conforming to that creative process. That creative process, like Will was talking about, like Pro Tools.
Yeah.
We need to conform to that workflow. I don't think that people are going to be really inspired by like texting out their entire creative intent when it comes to a film or a television series or music. I think it's segmenting the model and meeting the artist where they are is much more important. That's what we're doing. We're making agentic models in each and every workflow.
Well, that's what strikes me so much in talking to both of you is just, you talk about Pro Tools, you talk about so many technologies that are just, roll off the tongue. You use them, both of you know so intimately. And, there's been a lot of technology involved in the creative process for a long time. Yeah. But AI does, it feels like where we are right now is different. And maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit more, just relative to where your vision, was, kind of where we are today. With AI and how you see that progressing, over the short term, midterm, and long term?
What was the summary of?
So, kind of thinking about, I mean, you guys, technology has been used forever in the creative process, but AI does feel different right now.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about sort of how you see it being different, how you're using it today, and then where you see it going?
Okay, so if this was 1825, we made music differently. There was no recording industry. So there was no microphone. There was no amplifier. There were just amphitheaters. And the way the theater was designed was for someone to speak here and everybody could hear it because it amplified out. And the folks that performed on those stages and those amphitheaters, they wrote stories differently. Songs were sung in the context of storytelling.
Yeah.
And classical music, sheet music was the first industry. That's the reason why publishing is still important in a recording industry around. So our entertainment industry in music is three industries. It's publishing, it's recording, and touring. In publishing, there's a couple of publishing companies. In recording, there's like three big major record companies. And in touring, there's two companies, AEG, Live Nation. And they own all the venues, all the amphitheaters. If you're going to use AI to redo the recording industry, then you're not using your imagination. Just like the recording industry didn't, they were so bold and arrogant that they titled classical music. It's not like classical music is like, yeah, we classical. It was music. The recording industry came around and is like, that's classical music. We're recording differently because we only have a finite amount of time on lacquer. So our record industry contracts were drawn up. Our song duration was defined. And then when they played it on radio stations, it was broken up to like 15-second commercial, 30-second commercial, 1-minute commercials. Not 2-minute commercials, because that would be a song.
Yeah.
The jingles and then songs contractually are 4 minutes and 20 seconds. If it's over 6 minutes, then it's considered a part A, part B, or part 1, part 2 in our contract. So why are we taking recording industry structure and putting it on AI? AI can do recorded music really fast.
Yeah.
Because it could regurgitate imagination. It's a great mimic. And it's really fucking awesome. Pardon my French, of these text to music. It's great. But we as creators and innovators, we have to imagine what you do differently with this tool.
Yeah.
Don't just use it to do what we used to do. You gotta push it to do the new stuff. What's the new stuff? It's up to your imagination.
Yeah.
But if you're repeating what we used to do, then you're not imaginative.
Enough.
You're not flexing and pulling out the best of what can be with this tool.
Yeah.
And that's the hyper creatives. I consider myself a hyper creative. You know what I'm saying? We will imagine some new shit. It's about new shit.
Well, it's and Prem, I know you talk a lot about sort of the democratization. That's the sort of potential for democratizing. I think the creative industry with AI, and I think what I'd be curious to hear how you think about Stability's role in that. And you're sort of starting with artists at the highest level, working with James Cameron. I mean, how do you sort of go from there to a democratized world where maybe anybody can be more creative? Yeah. To your point, I mean, it's not every day that a venture capitalist becomes like a rock star. I mean, it's never. But
but just to put some bones on that, some meat on those bones when I say imagine new things. So I built an AI company called FYI.AI, and we imagined two products. One of the products is called Sound Drive. We deployed across about a couple of million Mercedes vehicles, where we take the sensor data from cars and allow the driver to compose music or rearrange music, remix music, just simply driving. They don't have to do anything fancy or learn how to use it. They just drive and go, and the sensor data is reconstructing songs. Another, and that's utilizing AI. We're not creating new music. We're just reconstructing music. There's another tool that another product that we created utilizing AI, the power of AI, and that is FYI Radio. And that is where AI is the host of the station and the ability to create stations and go from segment to song instantly like you do on radio, but allowing the driver to go as deep as they want in the conversation and ask questions and banter back, ask questions about the segment, pull real-time information all over music, and then like classical not classical radio stations, but like classic radio, where it then goes to song. Then you could interrupt song and ask questions about the song, the lyrics, the composition, the year it was released, the record company, all the things you want to know about that song. Go deep in conversation about the meaning of the song, and that gets deployed in the next couple of weeks. I'm embargo before telling you who the partner is, but
You don't want to announce it today here on stage?
no, and we got a big announcement.
Okay.
On the 11th with a partner, and on the 13th with a partner, deploying that software onto a chip, and then our software into a fleet of vehicles.
Amazing.
So that's reimagining like your relationship with information and entertainment. And there's other folks out there that are dreaming new experiences with AI. Not to just duplicate exactly what we used to do, because radio is a one-way street,
I think that's such a wonderful example of the difference that AI can bring into this industry, because that world that you talked, and you showed me that before, like a little pre-thing, that was incredible. And in a non-AI world, that could never happen. That application that you're talking about, but now it can. So when you talk about artists and the democratization, it's like, this is the new microphone we're handing to an artist. There's an artist, very famous artist, who's also one of our investors. She told me, like, AI is like the new microphone. And what you're going to do with it, we didn't know what we were going to do with our microphones before. There's been all kinds of different uses for it, and different genres of music that has come about. That's what's going to happen now with the handing of AI. And AI is so incredibly powerful. I think the most I get excited about is creating artists who didn't know they were artists before. And when I'm working with Will and James Cameron and again, the leaders of the industry, I think they have the same vision with us, which is we need a world's better place with more artists in it and more people that can express their creative ideas and open up their imagination. And I think that there's just going to be, the market itself is going to grow.
And can you elaborate a little more on that? Like what, for example, in stability, like what is the role that these really incredibly talented creative people are playing in the development of the products themselves?
Yeah. So in particular with Cameron, we are trying to conform to the way that they're used to making content, but then understanding that the power of AI can open up all kinds of other doors. The blank page problem doesn't just happen on the first page. It happens all throughout the creative process, and therefore AI, injecting itself into whether it be storyboard or animation or rig removal or plate reconstruction, every single step of the way, we're creating, and we're working with creatives like Cameron and his team and musicians and producers to making sure we're unlocking the true value of AI each and every step, so nothing really has to change. I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think a professional song is you need to make them in STEM format. I think that we want to make sure that we're unlocking every single option you can in that sort of, in that system, and then you can sequence it. Or in film, that you make shot elements and then composite them after the fact. I want to make sure that each and every element of a creative process still has that control, and even has more control.
Hell yeah.
When we were backstage, I asked Will, he's also a prolific investor, I think I mentioned that, but what his first investment was in technology. You want to share that? And because a question after that is going to be, okay, so you predicted that, you predicted, AI now, and so like what's next for all of the venture capitalists in the room?
Yeah, so 2004, Black Eyed Peas, we did this gig for a car company, and turns out that car company was responsible for a video that they were highlighted in this movie called Who Killed the Electric Car. And Black Eyed Peas were given gas guzzlers to promote, and I felt really bad that, wow, we're being used to promote gas guzzlers. So I sold that car for $80,000, and then I went up to San Jose and met these two founders that were going to come to market in 2006. I drove up there. They were going to come to market with an electric vehicle. And I asked them, yo, let me invest in the company. I hope you guys promote it. So they were like, cool, great. We'll take your 80 grand. And then I put a little bit more in and got hopped on our cap table. And then they sent me that Roadster in 2007 when it first came out. But this is before Elon took over Tesla. And that was my first investment. And I still have that.
It's a pretty good one.
To this day, haven't cashed out on it. So
You're doing okay.
80,000.
You said it, yeah.
80 to 80.
So this is actually Will's house, the Intuit Arena? No.
No, but that was
It's his living room. Exactly.
Yeah.
and I've done that a couple of times, where I go out and meet founders. Same with Sam and OpenAI. Super early, went up to Silicon Valley, invested in OpenAI. And then when Dario left, went up and tried to, yo, come on, Dario, let me invest in Anthropic.
You really have to. I mean, they're not
Cohere with
Yeah.
Aiden and Clem at Hugging Face. So I like to go out and
Yeah.
and then, So then when I invested in a company that you and Sean Parker had.
Yeah.
And then went out and met with Imad from Stable Diffusion originally. Then when I found out that you took over, I was like, yo, that's the homie. I'm like, yo, come on. Yo, Prem, let me invest, bro. Like, I'd like to
Of
meet.
course.
I invest in the people,
Yeah.
and the solutions, the problems that they're trying to solve. And I really love it. I really love going out and hunting.
Me too, man. This is awesome.
So where do you, is there going to come a point in time where AI creates an entire movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be
but like I mean, I don't mean a short movie.
no.
I mean a real
a whole
full length feature film with a story.
not feature film, like a whole freaking series. And your version of it will be unique to you. We're going to have a conversation like, yo, did you experience XYZ? And you're gonna say, yo, what point of it did it splinter for you? What do you mean? And I'm like, oh, it splintered for me, like right when the car blew up. Like I moved the camera and I went to the person sitting at the bus stop and I asked the AI to splinter from that person because that person's mom, because that person at the bus stop passed away when the superhero, saved the day. And every action film, something blows up. And they never go into the people that were adjacent to that blow up. And so there's going to be like camera positions where you're like, right here, I want to see the movie from this perspective. I want to splinter it from that. And so the AI would then wrap around Janet, family member who was mourning Janet. That started off as a action film. Now it turned into a drama. And then I would then send you my splinter. Then I'll see it from your splinter. And these types of, and only AI is going to be able to do that. It's a different type of multiverse layer storytelling. And if you think that movies are only supposed to be linear because you can only capture it on film, when you have a different multi-dimensional way to tell stories where the human set the story off, but then selected where to put the splinters for the AI to splinter from. So that means I'm making a comedy, but at this point in time, I'm going to splinter it to an action film. And at this point in time, I'm going to splinter it to that. So I think something like that will happen in the next 10 years. You're going to have like splinters, storytelling. Yep.
I'm watching Prem listen to you for his product
This
development.
is my product roadmap is actually being, honestly, that's everybody, the artist can define a product roadmap and a go-to-market strategy, like you said, promoting it, and use cases and case studies better than anybody. This is what we did actually, my previous company. That's why we're doing it again. It's like we partner with the artist. It's like, how did I know what to build at Weta? It was easy. I just asked James Cameron what he needs for this, and then let it go. Or Ang Lee, or the many other directors that we worked with there. And this is that kind of, Will and other people like him have just learned to live without convention.
Yeah.
And when you could do that, then you can really imagine these types of things. And I totally agree. Listen, this is what he was talking about. I started thinking about the merger of, essentially of like a movie and gaming, and so when you have this kind of real-time rendering, which will be real-time generation, but will it even be called a movie? It'll be called something different, but it could very well be its own type of genre. There's no doubt that there's going to be multitude of genres we're not even thinking about. He will be thinking about it because he's already, this is what I love working with artists, because they live in the future.
He's making a movie right now.
Oh yeah, just got it right now.
Look at this.
No, I had to go buy Splinter AI.
I got.
Yeah, okay.
Got that shit. Was fucking goddamn. Sorry.
But this is,
That's the one thing about working with artists so much, that you feel super unproductive, because they can do things. I mean, just like this. It's like the amount he does in such a short period of time. But I think that there's going to be just genres we're not thinking about. It's going to be extraordinary.
well, I'm super grateful that both of you did this panel today. And I think it really proves why it's so important for us to have an incredible generative AI company like Stability here in LA that is working so closely with the
Can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
If there's so for all the folks that utilize Stability's APIs, our FYI.AI utilizes your APIs.
Of course.
And a lot of times you meet the CEOs or founders of companies, creative folks. And I think this is the reason why creative folks are, not as open-minded about these new tools, because when they meet the founders or CEOs that lead these companies, they don't gel with the creative realm. Like creative, they move a little differently, and then tech is a little. It's a unique entry point to really understanding the personality behind them. And I just want to salute. Thank you so much for your leadership to recovering Stability AI, getting it to where it is now from where it came from. Keeping the essence of what Stability is, the community, the open source community that are keep throwing awesome stuff at Stability. My company and other folks that use it, we're your customers, and onwards and upwards. So anything you need from me, bro, I'm a part of your troop. But thanks.
Thank you so much. I mean, I can't even thank you enough. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Thanks Upfront. Thank you, Mark, for letting us go a few minutes over.